There is no questioning that this Eagles draft class will be discussed for years to come. Due to its controversial nature and sheer focus on the word speed, there are bound to be plenty of discussions that crop up. But one of the more underrated that arose from that weekend was the team's lack of investment at the defensive end position. But it was a lack of investment that was then flipped on its head on Tuesday when the Eagles confirmed they are picking up Derek Barnett's fifth-year option. Here's what this means for the Eagles, for Barnett, and what we can expect moving forward. Before we get into today's video, guys, just wanted to say a huge thank you for checking out this content and taking time out of your busy days to do so. If you could stick around and hit that subscribe button, it will be absolutely amazing. And as always, you can get your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage from myself and all of our writers over at phillysportsnetwork.com. Now, this move doesn't come as much as a surprise. The Eagles did exactly the same with Carson Wentz 1 year ago, and Barnett being eligible for the fifth-year option as a former first-round pick, it makes just too much sense to avoid bringing him back, especially considering he's only 23 years old and has played in 35 games. You've got players, for instance, such as John Hightower, who are coming out of the draft at age 23. So he's still got a very, very high ceiling and a lot of NFL experience under his belt. It only makes sense to give him that room to grow, especially with a new defensive line coach in town. Matt Burke, who was Jim Schwartz's defensive assistant last year, is also coordinating the run game and helping with the defensive line. So he'll know exactly from previous experience with Schwartz what to get out of Barnett. Someone that is already lauded around the locker room as a high character guy, someone that all the coaches are very, very high on, despite what his statistical production may say. Barnett's become a very perplexing character to discuss, purely because he's missed 13 of a possible 48 games and never really been able to emerge as a consistent weapon off the edge. In my opinion, he'd quite often fade away as drives deepen before coming up with a play by being in the right place at the right time, such as Super Bowl 52. Now in 2019, he did have a career year. He played the first 12 games but would miss the next 2 weeks with an ankle injury. He returned for the final games of the regular season and played 53 snaps in the playoff game, ending that campaign with a career-high 6.5 sacks. And a lot of people liken Barnett to Brandon Graham, someone that many considered a bust after his first 3 years in the NFL. And I think there is some weight to that. We do have to be patient. But this NFL draft was very, very telling. Knowing that Barnett was coming towards the end of his contract with the Eagles, they could have very well hit the reset button, taken an edge rusher early, and then opted to try and move on from Derek Barnett, trade him somewhere else, or just make the most of that cheap fourth year and then let him enter free agency. They didn't. They doubled down on the Tennessee edge rusher, and in 2021, it's now going to cost them around $9.5 million, which is a fair amount for a defensive end who, as we say, hasn't quite set the league on fire just yet, as many perhaps expected him to. There also isn't a lot of depth along that defensive line. Outside of Derek Barnett, there's only Brandon Graham, who's getting no younger, Josh Sweat, Sharif Miller, and Deshaun Hall. Now, all of those guys have question marks over them, and the addition of Casey Tuhill in the draft didn't exactly answer those automatically. The fact they're bringing Derek Barnett back not only shows that they may be looking to keep him in their plans long term. Again, as someone that's only 23 years old, this does make plenty of sense, but it also adds to the fact that there is a real confidence among that coaching staff when it comes to his play. Barnett did notably add a spin move by the end of the year, and it's safe to say he was starting to make steps in the right direction, and this will be the first time since high school he's actually had a full off-season to work with. So there's a lot to like here about the move, but it does put a weight of expectation on his shoulders now, that maybe there won't be a return for someone like Vinny Curry, and perhaps that Derek Barnett is expected to step up and be the guy as he should be in year 4. The Eagles picked up Nelson Aguilar's fifth-year option, and that didn't work. They'll be hoping for a very different result here with Derek Barnett, and someone that has flashed that elite potential but hasn't quite been able to put it all together. With the depth currently on the roster, there will be an expectation that he can step up and do that, and hopefully the addition of someone like Matt Burke on that defensive line coaching tree can help get the most out of his play. But what do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much again for taking time out to watch this video. I'll see you next time.